First this morning, you don't need an expert to tell you that the economic recovery is moving along at a snail's pace. Families that 2 years ago were financially stable have found themselves struggling to make ends meet, and the feeling of helplessness can be overwhelming. My first guest today is here to say there is help in getting and staying on track with your money. Joining me is Mike Kappas, President and CEO of Apprisen Financial Advocates, locally known as Consumer Credit Counseling Services. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I know that you are seeing people that you have never seen before, or in the past would never have needed to come to you for their services.
That's exactly right, Gail. It's amazing that in the last several years, as the economy has turned down, I think people who never thought for 1 second that they would need financial assistance are now at a point where one of the spouses has lost a job or they're underemployed, and all of a sudden they've never been in a situation where they've needed some kind of financial advice.
The problem is, though, for all these folks who need this advice, they may be going to the wrong people for help, because there's lots of, sadly, scammers and schemers out there trying to take advantage of people who are having difficulty. So how do you find a credible counseling service?
Well, there's some fundamental things, and again, we'd love for everyone to come to Apprisen. We also recognize that there are choices. One of the things you have to do is do a little homework, not a lot. Are they members of the Better Business Bureau? Are they members of your local chamber? Do they have offices locally in your community, or is it just an 800 number? Mm-hmm. Do they offer accredited counselors? Just a little bit of work can save you so much time and
heartache sometimes.
And heartache, a lot of heartache.
So people can find all those things, the stability that they need when they come to see you.
Exactly. There's no question that it has to start with one of our certified counselors sitting down with the family member, preferably both, to just find out, okay, what has caused the problem, what is the problem, and what corrective actions there are. And it's just really worth time to do that.
I know, either being a single person or family, the folks recognize, I think, at some point that they're heading down a slippery slope.
Yes.
What are some signs for people to look for if they're at home and then it's time to go see you? Well,
unfortunately, it starts with the simple things. We all love to use credit cards. And if you find yourself using credit cards for things that you used to pay cash for, that's a sign that something's wrong.
So maybe something like groceries, that by the time you are done with eating the groceries, you haven't even received the bill yet.
Exactly right. And unfortunately, things like going to a coffee place and for a $3 cup of coffee, you're using your credit card. That coffee ends up costing you $5, not $3.
Wow.
Unfortunately, things like if you're making a decision weekly or monthly on which bills you're going to pay versus paying them all, or if you find yourself borrowing money from people or from your home, refinancing, there are 2 or 3 things should raise the flag and say it's time to really take a look at what's going on.
And if that red flag goes up, you shouldn't wait to see somebody, because the sooner they can get, or you can help them, the better off they'll be.
That's absolutely right. People it's hard to acknowledge that you might have a financial problem. You know, no one wants to admit.
It's a bit embarrassing, actually.
It is.
Especially if someone's never been there before.
It truly is, but to seek help early, it's almost guaranteed that we could help out if we catch it early. People have a tendency to wait and wait as if the problem's going to go away, and unfortunately, the only thing that happens is the problem gets worse.
Well, how can you help people then? Because obviously they don't have the money they had before.
Well, first of all, anyone that comes to our organization is probably going to sit down with a certified counselor for an hour and a half, and that service is absolutely free. We're going to help you through what I would call a household budget. Where do you spend the money? What's coming in? We try to determine the nature of the problem and what we can do to solve it. We're also expert housing counselors. We assist people on their unfortunate road to bankruptcy, because there's a requirement that they have to pass a test in order to qualify for bankruptcy. But most of all, we're financial counselors, and it's something that we like to do to help people understand what can they do to fix the problem.
Can you help people repair their credit if their credit's been damaged by all this?
Absolutely, and that's another point. So often, we all have medical checkups annually. We all do a lot of different things. You take care of your car. I would really recommend that people check their credit report every year. We can help you understand how to fix it. We could help you understand where the problems come from.
That's a good advice, Mike. Thank you. And we've had your website and phone number up there so that folks can get a hold of you if they need to.
Thanks so much for having me.